Hello and welcome. Some of you may know already what sort of machine is in here, and no, it's not a box of ammunition. I haven't got into that yet. So when these machines were delivered brand new to the customer, and that would have been a exciting day for many people. I know that these machines, would cost a lot of money back in the day. But yeah, if you don't know what this is, it's an Elna Supermatic Star Series. And if we have a look in the manual here, it talks about removing the shipping screws. And you can see there that the machine's been tipped on its back there, and the screws are being removed. And it talks about it here for the free arm models. Remove the screws at the bottom. Keep them in the accessory box for use again if necessary, for example for shipping your Elna. And then it goes through opening the lid and bits and pieces, so we'll go through that. So the purpose of the shipping screws is to hold the machine nice and sturdily inside the case there. So when it's being shipped and it might be being thrown around a bit, these would have come inside a cardboard box with polys and whatnot as well, so and they're not exactly light either, but you can tip the machine back, tip it upside down, you can hear nothing rattling around. The little thing you can hear is just a spool of cotton that I've got in here, so you can tip it all around. So before I go undoing the shipping screws, I'll quickly show you what the machine looks like with the shipping screws attached. I notice quite often that these lids aren't put back together properly, these carry cases. Quite often I'll find them with the this lip here not inserted correctly in here, so it's not immediately obvious if you've not come across these types of cases before how to put them back together. But first of all, to undo the cover here, we just push the lever down here like that, and this little front flap will open up. I quite often see machines where this little latch is damaged or missing, and so that tends to just want to fall out. And these cases are actually separated front and back here, and then what you do is you pull the bottom of the front of the case out, and then you hinge that right up like that, and that allows this lip along the top here, which we'll have a close look at, to pop out of its little retainer there like that. If we have a close look here, this lip here, along here, goes in under here. You can see that fits in under there like that. Anyway, let's have a look at the shipping screws here. You can see that the machine's well held in there. It's not going anywhere. It's a really nice design actually if you are traveling with your machine, or you are shipping it off somewhere that's not coming out of there, there's no way. So that's really sturdy there. And if we have a look underneath here, we can see our shipping screws there, and so there's 4 screws just at the corners there. And the manual shows taking these off before taking the front lid off, but I don't really think it matters too much, apart from the fact that that flap there could come down onto the machine and scratch the paint. So it's probably not advisable to be doing this. If that fell over and smacked down onto the machine there, that could cause paint chipping there. So you're probably best to do this before taking the front cover off. I just did that to show you how that works. fact, I'll put the cover back on. So I'll just quickly put the cover back on so that there's no risk of damaging the paintwork. So I've just started this screw here, and there's one of the shipping screws. Now that's a 6mm metric screw, and that's about 12mm long. You probably wouldn't want to use screws much longer than that. And I've just used the sort of flat head pan head type. So just remove those. And now the machine is free to be taken out of the case there. So we'll just gently turn it back on its feet there. Take the front cover off. So to remove the machine from the back part of the case here, pull the machine forward, tilt it forward, leave the base where it is, just tilt it forward and just lift it. Lift it out like that. And behind the front cover here you'll find the foot controller is held into place with a rubber band, a nice big thick rubber band. This particular one's missing the genuine rubber band up here. I've just substituted that with a general purpose rubber band. Yeah, so that's nice and tidy and compact. The only thing I find with these is sometimes the plugs, if you have the plugs tied up so they're up here, they can interfere with the case going on because there's not enough room to accommodate these plugs. I guess, you know, if you worked out exactly, you know, you might be able to get them in there, possibly, you know, like that maybe. I always worry about these prongs here on the power plugs sort of digging in and damaging the machines. So I find it easier to let these plugs here just lie down in this area down here, and then if I'm shipping the machine, because I'm worried about these sort of, you know, flapping around and causing paint chips and damage, I will wrap these in bubble wrap and just to help protect the machine. If we have a look at the underneath of the machine there, so you'll see there the 4 screw holes, 2 up there, 2 down here, and that's where these shipping screws screw into there. So on the case they just pop through from underneath there like that, and they screw into the screw holes here. It's a pretty neat little system really. It certainly protects the machines. Just another thing to note, when you're ready to put the machine back into its case, don't try and put it back in with the spool still up, because you won't get the machine back in. So just make sure that the spool holders are down, retracted, and the actual spool there, I'll just sit down there. Just another quick note as well, if you are going to be storing your machine for any amount of time, it's quite a good idea to put a piece of fabric under the presser foot there, and it just protects things. And I mean, you could also just give that piece of material, it doesn't need to be this big, but just a little piece of material to go under the foot. You could just give it a very light soak in oil, and that'll just keep things nice and clean there and stop things from rusting up if there is a little bit of moisture around. To put the machine back in the case, put the base in first whilst tilting the machine forward, and get the base, you know, into the base of the machine into the base of the case there, and then you should just be able to let that come back and sit inside there nicely like that. Quite often I'll see a machine where this top lip here hasn't been hinged in properly, and people must just put the machine together sort of roughly like that, and you get this sort of scenario here where the top the top isn't latched in. The bottom, this here is latched in, and then you go to try and pick it up and it all goes wrong. So the key to this is to get this lip here in under this here. This piece of metal here is curled over. There's a cutout here, and my finger is going through there, and that cutout there, that matches this piece here, and this is used for centralizing the case. So you'll see there, you get the lip to latch underneath like that, and it should just nice and easily settle down like that, where you can just pull the bottom in nice and easily. As I say, you shouldn't use any force, and then it's just a matter of bringing this flap up here, and then once that's closed, push the black lever up, and that latches everything in, and that way when you pick the machine up by the handle, all of this is being held securely here. If you're going to install the shipping screws, I find it actually easier to take the front cover off, because if you tip the machine back now, you know, the machine may have moved in the case there and the screw holes might not quite line up. In this case they are, so we'd probably get away with putting the shipping screws in here now. But if the machine has moved slightly, you might not be able to get the screws in. So I find it easier just to remove the front cover, gently tip the machine back, be careful not to let the flap fall down and scratch the paint, and then you can get your machine and line up the screw holes there and put the 4 screws in. I won't tighten the first screw. Good idea not to tighten the screws until you've got all of them started. That's just because if you tighten one screw it could hold the machine in position and not allow you to line the remaining holes up. So we'll just get that there. So that's all 4 screws started there. So now we can go ahead and tighten them up. They don't need to be extremely tight or anything like that, just quite firm. Just like that, and then you can bring the machine back onto its feet and go ahead and fit the front panel there. So if I was shipping this machine from here on, you know, I would bubble wrap those plugs and, you know, make sure that any accessories or bits and pieces are, you know, well secured in the machine. I would bubble wrap the outer here and then a layer of cardboard. Quite often what I'll do also is I'll leave a hole in the top for the courier so that they can easily grab the handle. It just makes it a bit easier to manage, because yeah, they're not exactly light. I hope you found that helpful, and thank you very much for watching.